Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if it's sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 120. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz. We've got a big-time guest on F120, NBA Hall of Famer, 15-year NBA veteran, Tracy McGrady joins the podcast. He has a new sports league, basketball league that's out. We'll talk about that in his Hall of Fame career. Alex, how are you doing?
Mike, I'm doing great. You know, Tracy McGrady, once a Knick, always a Knick, as we always say around here.
Yeah, that's my motto in life. That's what I walk around every day. When I wake up my son, I go, once a Knick, always a Knick. And he looks at me and poops. But yeah, that's it, right there, Alex.
Yep, I'm going to make him a Knick fan. Don't worry. One day he'll be a Knick fan. Yep.
Don't even try. All right, enough of the small talk here. NBA veteran, 15 years in the league, Hall of Famer. You guys know who he is. Here's our conversation with Tracy McGrady. All right, it's Bad Weather Fans, and we're excited to have on the line NBA Hall of Famer, 15-year NBA veteran, and it's Tracy McGrady. And T-Mac, excited to have you on, and I know you're promoting and involved and started this incredible league, OBL, and I want to hear about it. But like as a podcaster, I find a really weird connection here, and I want to know what you think about this. As a podcaster who loves sports, talking about sports, I feel like the podcast platform is such a great way for such talented people to get involved in talking, create content, and showcase their skills, right? There's so many amazing people out there. And I know you're doing something similar with your league, with OBL, and love to hear more about it and how that kind of is a connection for stars and maybe taking that next level to the NBA.
Well, I think it's, I look back at my story and I look at the opportunities that was presented to me. I was one of the lucky ones, right? Because even before me, there were some talented guys in the area that I grew up in that really never panned out and went to a major D1 and beyond their collegiate career. All because we grew up in a small town of 10,000 people. Those opportunities just wasn't there, right? My junior year playing basketball, I had this guy come out of nowhere and offer me, an invitation to the Adidas basketball camp, where the elite high school guys play, basketball. Never been to a camp ever. This was the first one and never heard anything about it. So I was like, cool. I've never really played basketball outside of my little radius of Polk County in Central Florida. So I get to this camp and I see all these players and they're ranked on the national level. And I go through this camp and I make a name for myself. I end up becoming the number one player in the country. Nothing really changed about me as a player. I just got the opportunity and made a name for myself. It's similar to what I'm doing for these players out here. Like these guys went and had a college career. Maybe some of them played some overseas ball, but they still have a high level. They're not going to be NBA players, right? But if I create this platform for them and we're on the national scene and I'm ranking my top 50 players, this would be the first and only ranking system for one-on-one basketball, what we're creating. So now we're bringing some attention to these players, giving them the platform that they well deserve. And hopefully, they can, pursue that dream and get a shot and opportunities to play in the NBA.
That's great. It's great that you're doing that for them. That's wonderful. It really is. So as you know, this is a Knicks and Nets podcast. I'm the Knicks fan. Mike is the Nets fan. And I just want to tell you a funny story. So in 2009, 2010, my friends and I bought tickets before the season to see the Knicks play this up and coming Thunder team with Durant, Westbrook, Harden, Ibaka, et cetera. And, sure enough, a few days before, the Knicks trade for Tracy McGrady. Here you are. We were like all pumped up like Knicks fans because, with all the trades at that time, trying to get under the cap. Yours actually was giving us some hope. Like, wait, this wasn't just about wait for the offseason. Like, we have Tracy McGrady if he comes back, and it was crazy. So you have this incredible first half, and game eventually you lose in overtime. Just take us through that whirlwind of a game, and how it all went down that season at the Garden.
So I had to get out of Houston, right? Houston was just bad blood there. Get traded to New York because they were trying to have some cap space for LeBron, sweepstakes, right?
Yeah.
But they ended up signing Stoudemire, which wasn't a bad sign. But yeah, so I get there to New York. I'm just ecstatic to be back playing basketball, right? Because I've been out the whole year recovering from surgery. My adrenaline's flowing. We got OKC, the young guns in town, Westbrook, Harden, KD. I'm feeling good. I go out, I have a big game, 26 points. You know, we lose in overtime. I'm feeling good. But that adrenaline wore off. I was like, man, this is bad. Like, I don't know if I can get back to that level again. But the funniest thing of that year, I walk into the locker room. We got Al Harrington and Eddie House and these boys in there. I'm like, there's some talent around here. Bill Walker, I'm like, we got some talent. We could make a push for the playoffs, right? So I'm like, yo, man, like let's make this push. Let's try to make the playoff. And Al looking at me like laughing. I can't figure out what the joke is, right? All he said was, Matt, you gonna see. You're gonna see, bro. He's like, we ain't making no playoffs. Get out of here. So going through a few games, I understood what he was talking about. Like, it was just bad energy around that organization, right? That team. It wasn't right. Didn't feel right as a player. I just felt like everybody was on their own agenda. It was crazy. It was a bad situation. But the organization was awesome, though, how they treated the players, though.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So from your eyes, you're seeing all this talent, but just the importance of that culture that's established in there. Just within like a week or two, you could feel like this, even though we have the talent, like we look at the Celtics and just how they are the perfect definition of just in sync. It just felt completely opposite.
Oh, it was completely opposite. Like, this guy was going that way. He was doing his own thing. He was doing his own. It wasn't a team. It was just all individually. Guys was trying to put up numbers and get a contract. Like, they didn't care about winning ball games. It was literally, I'm for myself.
And do you think that was because of all the trades that were going on at that time, that we knew that a guy just knew that he can get traded in a day and it didn't matter, or do you think it was just the organization as a whole?
I don't know what it was. I mean, I think it's a combination of a lot of that stuff, a combination of the coach, of all the trades, of, how the organization was running things back then. They didn't have the best reputation. So I think it was a combination of a lot of that stuff.
And when you were playing a team in the Oklahoma City Thunder that had a bevy of young talent, when you're going up against a guy like Durant, who's 21 at the time, and Westbrook and Harden before he was really the beard, are you going up against these guys thinking Kevin Durant's going to become one of the greatest players in the history of the sport? Do you see that even when it's that young in somebody's career?
KD for sure. Yeah, I saw that when he was in college. Like, I knew KD was going to be a bona fide star because of his talent level for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So another Knicks connection that you have is Jeff Van Gundy playing for him in Houston. Do you have any, we call him Jeff around here. There's Jeff, everybody knows who we're referring to. With Jeff, do you have any kind of crazy stories or any zany things he did or how he was as a coach when you were playing for him in Houston?
Jeff is my favorite coach. I love Jeff. Like, he is tolerate no nonsense type guy. Like, that's who he is. I have two stories, really. So we come into practice one day and, Jeff is the type of guy that he can walk by you, right? And he doesn't say anything to you. He walks by you in the hallway, he's in his own little world. I don't know what the hell he's thinking about, but he can walk by you and not speak to you. So, a lot of people around the organization was kind of on eggshells around Jeff and didn't know how to approach him, right? Even he had some of the players like, man, what's up with Coach Van Gundy? Like, what's up with him, man? Like, I can't get a read on him. So it was a time, man, we came in to practice. There was no balls bouncing, and everybody was lined up on the wall, just sitting down. Jeff goes one by one to each player and talk about their roles for the team, right? Now, this is like mid-season, and he gets to one of our players, Luther Head. Luther was struggling like crazy during this season. He gets to Luther Head, and in front of the team, he says, "And Luther, where the hell are you? Are you on a milk carton or something? Like, what the hell have you been?" I'm dying laughing, yo, because everybody is quiet, right? Because they trying to figure out where he's going with this. I'm dying laughing. Juwan Howard is sitting next to me. He's scared to laugh because we talking Jeff Van Gundy, like he had that type of, impact, influence on the team. I can't hold it in. I'm like, man, forget it. This is funny as hell, bro. You talking about this man is on a milk carton. Like, I haven't heard that in that was his thing. Like, I loved that he would sit everybody down and take us through our role for that team. And that lets everybody know what to expect out of each individual. So I respected the hell out of Jeff for that. And then I played with him for 3 seasons. He only was mad at me one time in those 3 seasons. He got mad at me one time. We were playing the Sacramento Kings at home. It's a tie. I think it's a tie ball game, or I think we're up 3, right? I think we're up 3. And yes, we're up 3. And we call a timeout. And in the huddle, Jeff tells us that when they throw the ball in, to foul, right away, so we don't give up a 3-pointer. Sacramento came up with a creative way, and I had a brain fart. They throw the ball to C-Web. I'm guarding C-Web. He does something like a fake or something. I go for it. Instead of fouling, I'm trying to play defense. Like, no way C-Web about to score on me. Like, he's too slow, too big, too slow. He's not about to score me. I'm not fouling. I'm about to guard his ass. He does a fake. I go for it, shoots and makes a 3, and Jeff Van Gundy is livid. That was the only time that he was mad at me, and I had an egg on my face because I couldn't say nothing. Tied the ball game, and we ended up losing in overtime.
Man, that's wild. I love hearing too, Garden C-Web and in those moments there. And you referenced another Michigan guy in Juwan Howard. Did you see it then that he was going to be a coach? Was he like, hey, this is where I want to get involved? And did you see that in him?
No, I didn't see that. I knew he was like, he was a great teammate, and he was a leader of men. I didn't see the coaching though. He's doing a phenomenal job, by the way.
That's interesting. Yeah, and another guy you played with, obviously, a mega worldwide star, Yao Ming. How was it playing with a guy like that who was not only just famous in this country, but around the world?
Yeah, it was awesome, man. I love Yao's personality, great teammate, very smart individual. But, I think the weight that he had on his shoulders, it was pretty heavy. And the way he carried that with grace and confidence, and knowing the expectations that came with that. I applaud him for that. 2004, 2005, we were the first team to go over to China for the China games. And that's when I really seen the impact that he had. It was amazing. He couldn't go anywhere. I mean, thousands and thousands of people just rushed just to see this guy. And you could see him from miles away because he's so damn tall. But I remember it was, I think, 2005. We were playing a regular season game, playing the Milwaukee Bucks. They just drafted Yi Jiliang. I hope I pronounced his name right, but another Chinese player. This was their first matchup, right? So Houston versus Milwaukee, first matchup, 2 Chinese players. After that game, they told us the numbers, the viewers that watched that. It was insane. That's when I knew, like, Yao Ming is a real deal. It was 250 million watched the regular season game. Like, it was more than the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
It was amazing. A regular season game.
Yeah.
That's the fact that he had.
That's crazy. And, Nate Robinson blocked the shot clean. You know that,
He did. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
All right, cool. And
I had to get that in there.
Thing is, just another Knicks perspective. I'm a Nets fan, but I am interested on this Knicks take because RJ Barrett, if you're following his career and whatnot, like, such a baby at 21 years old, but there's such like expectations, and people come in and say like, oh, he's a bust. He hasn't lived up to expectations yet. But then again, at the same time, and he's barely of legal age to drink. From your end, coming into the league, into another country as a teenager, what is your view of expectations on RJ from like the media perspective, and just from your end, if you were to give him advice, like how to handle people that are saying nonsense and really don't know or understand what's really going on?
Funny thing is, you probably don't even know this. I played with RJ's dad in Toronto.
Oh,
yeah,
that's crazy. Yeah.
RJ Barrett was my teammate in Toronto.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I look at it as this, man. He's playing in New York. It's the media capital of the world. Like, I mean, you know how New York is, that the media is going to be on him. Everybody has a voice nowadays. I didn't have that back when I played, and when I got drafted in 1997. In the 3 years I was in Toronto, there was no social media. Everybody didn't have an opinion. I was in Toronto. Who gives a damn about Toronto? So I didn't have that type of pressure coming in. But he's playing in New York, and we know what type of media attention he's going to get playing there, being drafted as high. To me, I think he's proving everybody wrong, because the kid is getting better every single year, right? I mean, that's all you can ask for him to just continuously to get better. Every year brings something different to the table, and he's adding different things. I mean, he has some really big games this past season, which I think they should appreciate. And hopefully he can come back and add something more, but be consistent now. From this point on, it's time. What is this? He's going into his 4th year, right? So this is time where RJ Barrett has to be consistent every single night, putting up those certain type of numbers and playing and having an impact on the game every single night.
And you reference social media. Do you like when, like now, it's such a different world where everybody has their phone and can say anything they want at any time? What do you make of like Kevin Durant, who can just go on there and kind of speak for the players? What's your viewpoint on somebody that can in real time hear something that they say, well, this isn't true? Like, what are you saying? And kind of debunk that?
I think more players should do it, because I know they want to. They act like they don't care what people say. I care. They really do. Kevin Durant cares, and he tweets back. Like, if it's a basketball conversation and if something said about you, here's what pisses me off, right? You say something about KD and he replies, and then other people like, you too big for that. No, I'm not. It's a conversation. It's a conversation. Like, this guy is talking about me, so I want to address that. What is the problem with that? Right? It happens every day in life. Because I'm this big superstar, I'm not allowed to address somebody that is talking about me. I want to address that and have a conversation with this man and find out why he said this about me, so he can hear my side of it. And that's just that. There's no problem with that.
Yeah, I love that too. Like the idea of, if somebody saw Kevin or anybody in real life, wouldn't have the balls to say that. They'd be, it would be the exact opposite, shy away, everything's nice, and not
Take
getting, Twitter balls where you can say anything you want.
Right. I mean, I listen, I respect KD for that. Just if you have that type of mentality to where you want to address somebody that's talking about you, why not? Say it.
So are you saying that if Twitter was around back when you were younger, you would have been active on it, or do you think you would have stayed away?
No, I'm not. I care less about Twitter, social media. I don't care nothing about that.
Okay.
I just got on Instagram when I started working for ESPN. I wasn't on anything because I just don't. I care less about that stuff.
I'm jealous. I need that attitude. Right? I'm the opposite. I'm like, here's my pasta I had for dinner. I need the whole world to know how good this spaghetti and meatballs is.
I give 2 shits.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about. So you're playing the Rockets playing the Mavericks in the postseason. You guys go up 2-0. You have this amazing dunk on Sean Bradley. The series doesn't go the way you wanted to, but take us through that famous dunk of dunking on Sean Bradley, and if you've discussed that with him at some point.
Out of respect, I would have addressed that, but I don't know if you guys know Sean Bradley is paralyzed now, and I refrain from having those type of discussions about him out of respect. No, but it was a great series, though, man. If you go back and look at that series, people don't understand how deep that Mavs team was, how good they were. And I think I averaged like 30 in that series, like trying to go head to head with Dirk. I had to guard Dirk. Did a phenomenal job on him in that series to where I think I held him way below his regular season average. And they still beat us in 7 games. And listen, I don't know what happened in game 7. Games 1 through 6 was very close, right? Very close. Game 7, we lost by 40, guys. 40. I'm still scratching my head like, how the hell this happened? We were battling game 1, 2, 3 to 6. We come out in game 7 on their court and get not annihilated. Like I couldn't tell you what happened, but it was a fun series. Going back to that play, I mean, I've never have done something spectacular on the opposing court and they replay it on the Jumbotron. Like they replayed this over and over. You could hear the crowd just oohing, and I just thought that was crazy.
Yeah, that's got to be an amazing, like something I'll never experience in my life. So it's awesome hearing. Like I said, my exciting moment is putting pasta on Instagram. So I get that. It's cool. We saw like the Suns here, for example, 66 wins or whatever it was, and then that happens in a game 7 versus Dallas. How does, like, from a team standpoint, when you have so much talent like that, is it weird? It just has to be one of those things where it like starts and then it just snowballs. And I guess, as you said, you can't explain it.
You can't explain it, man. Like I said, it's been, 18 years or 17 years? I'm still trying to figure it out or what happened. I don't know what happened. It's sports, man. That's all I can say. That this is part of sports.
Yeah, and since we're around the NBA Finals right now, I just want to talk about your time playing in the NBA Finals for the Spurs and how that was kind of a bizarre season because you weren't on the team in the regular season, and then you're on the team, and then you played a couple minutes in the finals. You were at the end of your career. Take us through that season and how that all came about.
Well, I was done playing basketball. I had just finished my season up in China, so I've been home for 2 months. Mind you, this is 4 years of playing at a level that I wasn't, thrilled about playing, but because of my microfracture surgery and what I had to go through to get back on the basketball court, I had something to prove to myself that I can, do this rehab and get back and make an NBA team. So I went through 4 years of that. Once I finished playing in the NBA, I told myself I was going to play in China. China, my fan base over there is crazy, it's massive. So I had to go and give them a year of playing in China. Loved it. I felt being celebrated again. So I found my passion and my love back for the game of basketball. So I'm done. Okay. I retired from basketball. I get home, I'm chilling for 2 months after China. It was a Sunday, get out of church, and I got a voicemail from Pop. And call him, and he tells me that a couple of his guys are injured. I think it was Danny Green, Ginobili, like those guys was banged up. He needed extra body. Could I come down? Out of respect for Pop, I'm like, Pop, I haven't done anything in 2 months, bro. I just been chilling. He's like, don't worry about it. We'll get you in shape. So I go down there for, that playoff run. It was an experience. It was an experience. I loved every bit of it. I just love the camaraderie that, that team has and the respect that they have from top to bottom. And it's an understanding, right? And, to be sitting courtside when Ray Allen hit that freaking shot in the corner. And I'm like, damn, this is one of those moments that people going to talk about forever, right? This is one of those moments. They ended up losing that game, ended up losing the championship. But it was a fun ride, man. I'm glad I did it. But, if we would have won that championship, I'm a competitor. You guys know that. Like, I want to go through the journey myself. I don't want it that way.
Yeah, totally understand it. That was the series, right, where the fans started leaving early, right? Is that when the Heat fans were checking? Did the players on the bench start noticing like Miami's getting out of here?
They brought out the yellow tape and the trophy. And and
Wow.
the trophy. Yeah.
So they were. You actually saw them leaving. That's crazy.
Saw them leaving. Yes.
That's wild. And Tracy, so generous for your time. We appreciate it. And as we started the interview with the league you've created and going strong, I know it's a one-on-one league. Is there a player in today's NBA, let's say you're in your prime, you're at your peak, you would want this current player right now for the challenge of a one-on-one experience?
Oh, yes. I actually have 3 players.
Okay.
There's Paul George, KD, and Kyrie. Those.
Just one. Have to pick one, though. We're going to the final one.
KD. KD. Yeah.
What's the move you're bringing at him and trying to overhaul his length?
I don't have one off top. You know, everything is just reaction. So it's like it's just a reaction. You know what I mean? I can't tell you what I would do. It's just a reactionary thing that how I play.
We'll be there on the sideline putting it on Instagram and pissing you off about it. Be like, yeah, here it is. We need the likes.
I wish, this league, I hope for it to do well, which I think it will. And the NBA picked this up and added to All-Star Weekend. Slam dunk contest is just not it. But I know some of these guys were going to protect their brand and will be scared to get in a one-on-one competition. So
yeah, well, nothing's like your slam dunk contest with Vince Carter and you guys going head to head and Steve Francis. That was insane.
Listen, hey, I'm gonna use myself as an example, right? Talking about protecting your brand. I knew I wasn't gonna win that slam dunk contest. I didn't want to get in it because I knew I wasn't gonna win. I'm in with freaking Vince Carter. No one is beating him in a slam dunk contest. That's what he does. So he had to beg me for like 3 weeks to get in this slam dunk contest. Got in, okay, fine. But you talking about protecting your brand, forget that. It might enhance your brand.
Yeah, I love your idea too, because I mean, get the best of the best playing one-on-one. I mean, let's like what we've seen from the dunk contest over the last 10 years. We have Kyrie Irving going up against Steph Curry one-on-one like that.
Or Dame, yeah.
I mean, that's must watch.
Right? That's what I'm talking about. Listen, man, hopefully one day we get our wish. And it might not be those players, but, the next generation that's coming up.
And final question, Tracy, you can just be honest here. Playing at the Continental Airlines Arena, much better energy than Madison Square Garden as a road player.
It is. No. I mean, no. No. But I would say I do love the Continental. I did love it. That was one of my favorites. I had one of my biggest triple doubles in that arena.
And
I love that.
As a rookie, I don't know if it was in Toronto or Jersey, but you had your season high for points. So yeah,
it was in Jersey. Yeah,
I love it. Man, I love that arena. It was just a great shooting arena. The crowd was okay. It ain't the Garden though.
I know.
By no means is it the Garden, but me personally, it was one of my favorites to play in.
Yeah, well, we're cutting that part of the interview out. I'm just kidding. Well, Tracy, thank you so much. Everybody, check out the new league and watch this spectacular one-on-one play. Tracy, we appreciate your time here on Bad Weather Fans.
You boys, y'all have a good day.
All right, thank you again to Tracy McGrady. Really enjoyed that conversation. Was a lot of fun. We have a bunch of other interviews in case you missed them. Chris Childs, Kerry Kittles, Greg Giannotti recently talking that Celtics. So go back in the archives if you want to check that out. But Alex, loved his thoughts. I really enjoyed his Jeff Van Gundy stories in particular because I could visualize Coach Van Gundy doing that. And you could see if you watch this on YouTube and check out the video version, T-Max like legit cracking himself up telling the story.
Yeah, I think he said he was his favorite coach too, right? And and we all love Jeff around here in New York. Even Nets fans, I feel like, love Jeff Van Gundy because of he's on TV. He's just like a funny, good guy, And it's crazy to see those stories how everybody really respected him, and sometimes they walk by him in the hallway, wouldn't say anything. He's just so focused. Like you just look at Jeff Van Gundy. Even Chris Childs said it on a previous episode. You just see him, and he just earn the players' respects for how hard he worked with the bags under his eyes and stuff like that. So it's cool that he passed that on to Houston, and he still had that kind of, cachet there, so those were really interesting stories. And I loved what he was saying about with Yao Ming as well. That was pretty interesting.
You know what? This is like a weird, subtle thing about the interview, but it really kind of just hits home when you're talking to somebody that's an all-time legend, one of the best to ever do it. When he's like, yeah, and I'm guarding C-Web. And I'm just like, I was guarding like Henry in the backyard, and we all suck. And I'm like, he's like talking about legit breaking down guarding Chris Webber. To me, that's just like the coolest thing ever in sports.
Yeah, you were guarding some guy named Chris. He was guarding Chris Webber. You know
right.
What I mean?
But it ultimately, when you break it down, hoops is hoops. They're just doing it at the highest level possible. And, had Durant's back. He didn't say it was something that he would do as far as like going back and forth with people, because he just doesn't care. But I loved him defending KD, which I think is just interesting in general, that said, hey, yeah, like players are sensitive. It's okay to talk. Like we're human beings. It's not a weird thing to go back and forth. Keep it civil. Let's talk some hoops.
Yeah, I don't think if T-Mac, we didn't bring up the burner accounts from Durant, I don't think he would support something like that.
Right. Well, that's a different combo.
But defending yourself, but if you're Kevin Durant, that's totally, above the belt. You know what I mean?
Love
like these guys get on TV all day long, crushing these guys, crushing them.
Right.
And, to LeBron's credit, he never responds to Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless made an entire career on that stuff, So, I understand what T-Mac was saying. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I mean, like, ultimately, that's the best part from LeBron there in a weird way. It's almost like if you're not going to respond and just never do it, it is a bigger, like, I just don't really care.
You're beneath me. Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm just not going to do it. And how about kudos to LeBron, $1 billion still playing? I mean, that's
crazy.
Fucking amazing.
Yeah, that's like all the haters that hating on him. It just looks so stupid now, even dumber than they did before. But the other thing that was cool was when he was talking about that game, his first game as a Knick versus the Thunder.
Yes.
And that story that I told when that was like me and my friends, we bought these tickets like beginning of the season. We're like, we're gonna see Durant and Westbrook and Harden, like they're coming up. Like we're a big NBA fans, so we knew that they were gonna be superstars.
Right.
So it wasn't really a hot ticket yet. So we were able to go for a relatively good price. But then they trade for T-Mac. We're like, holy crap, this is amazing. We're broke early 20 somethings, you know what I mean? So like it was crazy for us. And I actually filmed a video of the starting lineups, and I posted it on YouTube. You can find it on my regular YouTube page that has like 4 followers.
Put it on bad weather. Put it on bad weather.
Yeah, I could actually, it's pretty funny. The crowd was wild that night. Wild. We were giving standing ovations for Eddie House, standing ovations for Sergio Rodriguez coming off the bench because he was part of that trade too.
Wow.
We're just so excited because it was the excitement that T-Mac could be Tracy McGrady again. It didn't work out, but getting all these expiring contracts was such a dead couple of years in the worst era of Knicks franchise. We're trying to get under the cap. That Tracy McGrady gave us that little glimmer of hope that like maybe, and then he was crushing it, and we're chanting T-Mac instead of defense, and it was a crazy night. So.
Yeah, and when you were at that game as a 20-something, you're like, yeah, 20 years later, 18 years later, I'll be talking to Tracy about the moment. Full circle.
Yeah, there's no chance I thought that would.
No, I hear you.
Same.
All right, this has been Bad Weather Fans, episode 120. Thank you again to Tracy McGrady. He was excellent. We really appreciate it. And check out his Hoops League, OBL. Give it a chance, give it a shot, check it out. And I think it's cool. I heard this as well. Didn't mention this, but they're working out some of the kinks with it. And then, the plan next year, bring it even more into the spotlight. Because I think as Hoops fans, we all love one-on-one basketball. And it would be cool. I did like his suggestion. Who knows if players would ever do this? But the dunk contest has been such crap over the last decade. It would be amazing to see LeBron and KD one-on-one, or RJ Barrett versus Zion, or RJ Barrett versus Ja Morant, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Or whatever stupid comparison that comes up, like RJ Barrett versus Tyler Hero or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I love
like
it.
Those stupid debates that you get on Twitter, and then you just put them on the court and see who wins,
Yeah, I think it'd be so much fun. But anyway, check that out. Information in the show links for us as well. So thank you to KD. Hey guys, don't forget, if you're listening to this and you want to see the video version, you'll find that on YouTube. Just type in Bad Weather Fans. Go ahead and subscribe on the video side. And then if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, whatever it might be, go ahead and subscribe as well so you can get automatic of the pod. and all the sports appreciated. Alex and I have put in a lot of work. We're grinding on this. We've enjoyed all the support from everybody. It goes without saying, Alex, and I know I'll let you chime on this too. Just hearing all the people just talk about this podcast, and when we started to now 120 episodes later, and Tracy McGrady just came on, it's really nice to hear all the warm things. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, and in a space where you don't get a lot of positive feedback, it's nice to get some on the podcast. So on Twitter, I'm talking. So, it's really nice. And thank you to all the supporters. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for everybody who's been sticking with us from the beginning. And you guys know who you are, and just continue to stay subscribed, download episodes, give us 5 stars on Apple, and drop a comment, and you could really support the show. So thanks so much.
Episode 120 of Bad Weather Fans. We'll see you next time for 121. Alex, I'll talk to you later.
Have a good one.